The story begins with a gang leader named Jingseok, who is going to take down the dog of the West Gate. The dog of the West Gate used to work under him, but recently he started to act on his own. Jingseok comes bursting through the door, taking down his security guards. But the guy was expecting him to come beforehand. When Jingseok confronts him about why he was laying his hands on his territory, the guy tells him that he was not like before. He used to be called Incheon's crazy dog, a human butcher, and a demon. But now he has gone quiet and become old. That's why the West Dog didn't want to work under someone like him. Jingseok has had enough and orders his men to bring him his head. But instead of attacking the West Dog, his men attack him and stab him from behind. His own men betrayed him. Jingseok takes down his men easily, but the guy was aware this would happen from the start, so he took measures accordingly. He had all of his gang members attack him at once, but somehow, Jingseok manages to survive that as well and escapes with a deep wound. He was bleeding heavily and didn't have much time left. His life starts flashing before his eyes, and he sees all the cruel things he had done for the past 20 years to become the ringleader of this gang. He tries to remember what was the turning point in his life that made him go on this path, but it didn't matter anymore as he was about to die. He regrets his life choices on his deathbed and slowly closes his eyes. When he comes to his senses, he finds himself in a strange place and wonders if he is in hell. Just then, he hears a voice asking him if he regrets his past life. Jingseok gets angry and yells at the person who was talking to come out. When he turns around, he sees a white light descending from above. It was an angel. The angel informs him that he deserves to go to hell for what he has done in his life. But seeing him regretting his past choices and the desire to change, the angel was interested to see what would happen if he gave him a second chance. He wanted to test if humans were capable of repenting or if they were evil and never change, just like Satan had told him. Jingseok asks the angel to just take him to hell, but the angel informs him that he is going to give him a second chance to live his life differently. But his soul couldn't be saved for what he had done in his past life. Jingseok didn't know what the angel was talking about. Suddenly, he sees a burst of light upon him, and when he opens his eyes, he finds himself in a young body. He finds his surroundings familiar and is stunned to see himself in the mirror. Just then he gets a call from the school dean who was scolding him for skipping school. It took him a few seconds, but he finally realized he was 23 years back in time. This was the time when he dropped out of high school and joined a gang. He starts crying and gives his gratitude to the angel for giving him another chance. But the angel reminds him again, no matter what he does in this life, his soul is bound to go to hell. But he didn't care about all that. He was just glad that he had another chance to correct his mistakes. He was going to live a proper life, away from all the gangster stuff. He was ready to go to his school. On his way, a guy he used to hang out with 23 years ago in his last life greets him. They both used to extort money from kids together. He was happy to see a familiar face and called him by his name, which made the guy, Kim Seok-hyun, angry as he was 2 years older than him. Jingseok realizes that he was the one who had introduced him to a gangster 23 years ago. This was the first mistake that he needed to fix, and it was all Kim Seok's fault. Jing looks at him with anger, which annoys Kim Seok, and as he is about to teach him a lesson, Jung grabs him by the chin and starts crushing him. Kim Seok couldn't get himself out of his grab and wondered how he was so strong all of a sudden. The other gangster, who was he to include Jing in his gang, attacked him, but Jing blocked his attack with ease and punched him so hard that he wasn't able to get up again. Jing starts beating Kim Seok and threatens him from showing his face to him ever again. Jing was fuming with anger as this guy made his life a hell. As he was about to hit him even more, he remembered what the angel had told him and how he had promised to live his life away from all of the gangster stuff. He leaves him with a warning and decides to enjoy his school life to the fullest. But there was another problem. The school dean suggested he drop out of the school. Jun didn't expect things to go this way. The dean counts all of his wrongdoings such as bullying, stealing, smoking, and all kinds of stuff. Jung was getting annoyed by him, but he stayed calm and thought rationally. He accepted all the things that he had done and apologized for that. He told him that he was serious this time and that he wanted to study hard. The teacher realized that even though he was talking as usual, he was much more calm than he thought he would be. He figures if someone like him could be changed under his guidance, it would be a great feat for his teaching career. So he decided to give him another chance, with a warning to expel him if he committed even one misdeed. Inside the class that he was in, It was chaos. Everyone was doing their own thing, disregarding the teacher who was too scared to say anything to them. Just then, Jing enters the class and is greeted by his thug friends. He also greets the teacher, who was flustered to see him for some reason. In the past, when this teacher was new to the school, Jung and his friends bullied her on her first day of school. She was so scared that she started tearing up. She never wanted him to come back. But now that she was trembling in fear while the bullies made fun of her. But much to her surprise, Jung beats the two of them instead. He even apologizes for being late for the class. He sat next to a guy with glasses and rudely ordered him to share the book. The teacher was stunned and couldn't believe it was the same Jing Seok, who didn't even bother to pretend to study. She thought he was up to something. During lunchtime, his friends asked him what was wrong with his today. He clearly informed them that he was planning to be a decent student and that they needed to look out for themselves now. They also didn't understand what caused this sudden change of heart. While Jing was enjoying the drink that he had after 20 years, he was interrupted by a pretty girl. The girl told him that Yonggi was waiting for him. At first, he didn't remember who he was, but then he realized that this guy was the king of this school. The school was basically run by him. In his past life, he had a good relationship with Yonggi. Yonggi tries to butter him up, but Jing was being cold to him and told him to get to the point already. He offers him a job, but Jing immediately denies the proposal, saying he was not going to work with a druggie. It took Yonggi a second to register what he just said. Everyone else was shocked as well hearing about the drugs. Yonggi was baffled because he didn't tell anyone about the drugs, but Jing already knew that he would become a drug dealer in the future. He warned him not to ever call him again and suggested he stop doing drugs and go to a hospital. As he was leaving, one of the goons tried to attack him from behind, but he twisted his arm and asked Yonggi if he should just take him down for good. There were too many of them for him to fight alone. Even he wouldn't be able to handle all of them together. At least that's what he said. So Jing threatened to break the guy's wrist if they came closer to him. It was only pissing off Yonggi more and more. Seeing this, June tries to gaslight him into a one-on-one fight. But Yonggi was not that dumb. He was not going to risk his position over a simple argument. He knew what Jing was trying to do, so he made it look like he was letting Jing off the hook for this one time. Jing was counting on it. He was relieved that his bluff worked because he had made a promise to the dean to not cause any trouble or he would get expelled. Jing casually left after insulting the whole group, while Yonggi was now determined to take him down. During the PE class, while Jing was thinking about his future plan, he saw a girl who was so stiff that she couldn't even do a simple exercise. Jing makes fun of her in front of everyone, saying how dumb she was. Everyone started laughing at her. She felt horrible and was scared. Her face looked familiar to him, and when he saw the scar on her hand, which was given by none other than him, he realized that she was Sim Jae-hee. Around this time of year, in his previous life, there was an incident that involved her and a few guys from their school. She was always bullied, but after that incident, she couldn't take it anymore. As a result, she took her own life. Jung felt horrible. He was so happy that he got a second chance that he forgot about the most important incident which destroyed many lives, especially hers. He loathes his past self for being such a piece of garbage. He decided to correct his wrongs and apologize to her for all the terrible things that he had done to her. But she was nowhere to be found. Just then, he saw one of his friends sneaking into a deserted gym. He immediately realized what they were up to. He came bursting through the door to find out his suspicion was right. When he saw what they were doing, he started fuming with anger. He starts beating them brutally. They didn't know what was wrong with him and why he was attacking him, but he was not listening to anything they had to say and just kept beating both of them. Jae-hee couldn't stop crying while Jing couldn't stop beating them brutally. He was barely holding himself from killing them. Before he lost his mind and killed them in anger, he told them to run away and never show their faces to him. He threatened to kill them if they ever did anything to her. After they were gone, Jung wondered how the situation came to this, but he thought that he saved her and it wasn't his fault, so she should be thankful for him instead. But when he tried to help her, she started trembling with fear. The look in her eyes was the same as it was for those guys. This opened up his memory and reminded him of the terrible things that he had done to her in his previous life. We see a flashback. Their first interaction was trivial. She dropped her pencil and was blocking his way because she was so clumsy. He found it pathetic how clumsy she was, and it annoyed him. During the class, He asked his friends what was up with her and why she was always alone. It was the first time he noticed her presence even though they had been in the same class for a few years. His friends told him that she was a loner ever since junior high. No one wanted to talk to her because she looked depressing and she always brought the mood down. That's why she had no friends. Again, Jung finds her pathetic. At first, Jung was just gonna let her be, but it irritated him how dumb and annoying she was. Due to her clumsiness, they started to mess with her wherever they found her. It was just a time kill for them, and to them, there was nothing wrong with what they were doing. Laughing at her and bullying her became a norm for them. Soon, the bullying got physical. One time, they grabbed her behind the school building. She was horrified and begged them to let her go, but Jing found that irritating. This was when she got that cigarette burn on her hand which was given to her by Jing. The worst part was that he didn't even acknowledge he did something evil to her. They moved on to their next fun activity, thinking how pathetic she was, while she was laying there in pain. Now we know why the angel had told him that his soul couldn't be purifying no matter what he did in his second lifetime. He did some very horrible things, and for that, his soul deserved to go to hell. Now that he was thinking about it, he realized what a horrible person he was. In her eyes, he was no different from those guys. To her, he might be even worse than those two, because the reason she was in this situation was because of him. As he approached her, Jae-hee was terrified, but much to her surprise, he sincerely apologized to her. Never in her lifetime had she seen that coming, and she could see he was sincerely sorry. In the class, everyone was talking about what happened to the two of them. One of the thugs threatened to go to the police for what he did to him, but Jing informs him that he would be released just with a warning as he is not an adult yet. But after that, he would search for them and would end their life. On top of that, if he told the police what they tried to do with the girl, they would be in more trouble. The guy falls on his knees due to the pressure. Jing warned the whole class to not do anything stupid from now on. Jing asked the guy in glasses where Jae-hee was. He told him that she was in the nurse's office and that she wasn't looking so good. Jing was worried she might do something stupid like in his previous life. During the class, Jung starts listing all the mistakes that he needs to fix, and Jae-hee is his top priority. He somehow manages to save her life, but the major problem is her being lonely. She was always looked down upon by her peers. And the other thing that he needed to fix was his teacher. While she was teaching, everyone was doing their own thing. The class was a complete mess and the teacher was too scared to do anything. Jung blames himself for her situation. If he hadn't teased her on her first day at school, she wouldn't be scared all the time. He almost forgot about the most important person, his father, who was working even now to provide for him. After he was done with the list, the teacher asked him to meet her in the office. She had something important she wanted to talk to him about. As she started explaining why she called for him, before all that, Jing apologized to her for his past behaviors. The teacher already knew he had changed and accepted his apology. She had a favor to ask of him. He thought she would ask him to make the class quiet because everyone was scared of him, but she asked him to stop the other students from bullying Jae-hee. Earlier, Jae-hee had told her that Jing helped her. That's why she was asking him to help her. Jing was happy that she could see through him that he had changed. He agrees to help her on one condition. She started getting flustered again, thinking he would demand something perverted, but he requested her to teach him English. She was happy to teach him English after class. Jing was confused as to why she was so happy when it was for his own good. After school, while he was going back home, he saw Jae-hee waiting for someone. She was waiting for him. He asked her what was she still doing. He assured her to come to school daily without being scared. No one would dare to bully her now, and if someone did, he would take care of them personally. Jae-hee was just speechless. He took accountability for the horrible things he had done and told her that he was going to live virtuously from now on. She thanked him for helping her. Instead of cursing him, she was thanking him, which frustrated him. She should be calling him shameless and all kinds of stuff, but she was thankful. Jing couldn't believe he was bullying such kind girls like his teacher and Jae-hee in his previous life. We see that the angel who gave him a second chance was watching him. He says that even though he was trying to change, it was only a small part of his long list of mistakes. At his shabby house, Jun Seok was sitting while looking at the list he had made earlier. He was gonna work things out with the teacher and the girl, but the problem was how was he gonna earn money? Even if he learns English, no one gives the job to a high schooler. He thinks of buying the stocks because he knows how it is gonna go. That way, he could even make millions. But he somehow realizes that the spirit might intervene and throw him into hell. He didn't even have money to buy stocks in the first place. He made dinner for himself, and as he was about to eat, someone came through the door. It was none other than his father. He asked him why he was home early and if he skipped the class again. Jun Seok was speechless seeing him. In a flashback, we see Jun Seok in jail. The guard told him someone was there to meet him. He was thinking it was his boss who came there to bail him out. But when he was pushed, he saw his father there. He doesn't even talk to him and starts going back. His father tries to have a conversation with him, but he tells him to go away and not come looking for him ever again. He belittles him by saying he doesn't even have money to bail out his only son out of jail. The father fell on his knees while crying. At that time, Jun Seok thought that was the best option. He wanted his father to forget about him and live his life without worrying about him. But soon after, he got the news that his father passed away. He lived alone and ultimately passed away due to stress. The guard says he shouldn't have upset him that much. And worst of all, they found him much later because there was no one close to him. That night, Jun Seok cried the whole night while regretting causing him pain all the time. At the present, or should I say past, his father screams at him to stop him from spacing out. The father remarks how he didn't even greet him when he came back. Jun Seok told him to clean up as he had cooked some ramen for him. The father suspects he might have done something, that's why he was doing it. Jun gets mad and says he was trying to become a good son from that day onward, and that he should just clean up and eat the noodles before they get cold. The father was glad that he was finally doing something to make him proud, and wondered if he had become mature. Jun Seok wipes his tears in the corner. He didn't think that his father was alive. Just a simple fact like that could make him so full. In his past life, he didn't like his father, but it was natural. After all, who would like an violent father? He thinks that was the reason his mother ran away as well. But when he got older and became twisted and went around creating messes, his father finally came to his senses and started working hard. At first, he thought his father was doing that just to get some money for his drinks. But he found out much later that he hadn't even dipped his tongue into any drink from that day forward. However, without knowing that fact, Jun Seok only became more twisted. He curses himself for not realizing it back then. Even while he was doing all sorts of bad things, his father was the one who stayed by his side till the end. Jun Seok couldn't stop it anymore and started crying at the dinner table. When his father asked him if he was crying, he simply says he just put chili in his ramen and it was damn spicy. The father scolds him and calls him an idiot for doing so. At this time, he really thanked the anger over and over again for sending him back while his father was still. In the morning, his father was getting ready to get to work even though he wasn't feeling so well and was tired. Jun Seok asked him to rest for the day and see a doctor. But he doesn't listen to him, saying nothing comes out from resting and that he was completely. Jun mustered up the courage to tell him to come back safely and not to overwork or get hurt. His father was taken aback for a moment, but he also said to him to have fun at the school. Jun Seok didn't care anymore. He was going to help his old man taste some luxury, even if he had to use some tricks, so that, even if he goes to hell, he'll be able to go in peace. On the way to school, Jun Seok nags about having to wake up at 6 am for the next 2 years. That's when he sees his senior, Kim Seok, whom he had beaten up again. The guy was on the edge seeing him and was scared that the lunatic might hit him again. Jun advised him to stop messing around and to find a new job like him. He thought he came to school pretty early, but there were already many students there. He sees the bullied girl Sim Jae-hee and wonders where should he start to fix that born wallflower. He asked the guy with glasses, Pol, to switch seats with Jae-hee. As she sits there nervously, Jun starts to analyze her to find out how to make her more popular. Step 1 of escaping from being a loner is a change of appearance. He asked her to take off her grandma's glasses and found out she wasn't bad looking. She was prettier without her glasses on. He ordered her not to wear them from now on. He also asked her to bring some money the next day. She nervously agrees to him with an expression as if he was trying to steal money from her. When he scolds her for thinking that, So says she wouldn't tell the teachers as well. June gives up and tells her to do whatever he says for the next few days, saying her life was about to change. While he was sleeping in the class, someone came barging in the class challenging him for a fight. He was a friend of the guy who got beat up by Jun Seok earlier. He tries to remember if he knew someone who looked like him in his past life, but he couldn't. Jun gives him a chance to go away while he is being merciful. But the guy, Jin-soo, attacked him while his guard was down. Jun received a direct punch to the face. The guy was a real boxer who had a professional license. Jun Seok smirked, calling them kids, and ordered him to bring it on. The whole school heard about the fight and they ran to the class to see the fight. We see one girl girl who was surprised to hear Jun Seok's name. In the class, the boxer guy kept punching him with a barrage of punches. He wasn't giving Jun any chance to fight back. Jun was just on the defense and looking for an opening. But the guy already knew what he was thinking and baited him into an opening thinking he'd fall for that. But Jun hits him with a kick to his leg instead. The guy calls him a coward for the low blow, to which Jun replies that they were not in the ring. The boxer guy gets angry and punches him, but this time Jun catches his punch. He remarks how his punches had become dull. He smacked him in the face. The guy realized that he was the one who got baited instead. Kenji informed him how he was just getting started. He got on top of him and started slapping him. Everyone in the class was shocked to see him like that. The guy accepts his defeat and requests him to stop hitting him. Jun thought about it really hard, but he had never seen that guy in his past life. He asks the guy if Kang Yong-gi made him do it, but the guy denies knowing anything about it. As Jun is about to hit him again, Sim Jae-hee asked him to stop hitting him. He stops and goes to the bathroom. While washing his bloody hands, he realized it was the same feeling when he was as twisted as can be in his past life. The days he hit and destroyed anything that came in his way. But when he realized it was already too late. If she hadn't stopped him, he couldn't have controlled himself like before. He still had a long way to go, but he didn't understand why Gang Yong-gi was already making a move. He thought he'd be too embarrassed to create this drama, but he couldn't do anything about it because he was already on the dean's radar. Just as he was thinking about all this, he bumped into the teacher in the hallway and tasted the heavenly vision. She immediately covers herself while Jun Seok makes an idiotic face. She accuses him of seeing everything, but he denies it. Even though he was thanking God for the view, Jun asks what were the papers about. She tells him that she prepared all that for him so that he could catch up to other students. She stayed up all night and made them for him. He decided to put all the fighting behind and just focus on his studies. The guy with glasses also helps him here and there, but soon his brain starts exploding from all the studying. Glasses guy woke him up and told him that the next class was music class and they needed to change classrooms. Jun Seok realizes how helpful and smart the guy is. He first decides to make him his shuttle, but being his friend would be more useful. In the music class, as he was about to take a nap in the back of the class, he saw two girls preventing Sim Jae-hee from sitting near them. Jun sees this and sits with her himself. She thanks him for doing that, but Jun acts as if he didn't know what he was doing. The girls start gossiping about the two of them with a look of disgust on their faces. When they get back to their class, Jun finds out Sim Jae-hee's seat was completely destroyed, and there was a message to her telling her to stop kissing his ass. Jun got furious and was about to beat up whoever did that, but Chi-hee asked him to stop, saying it was all right. It's not like it was the first time something like this happened. He becomes even more furious but listens to her anyway and works away in frustration. The glasses guy asked him if it is okay to leave her be as she looks happy when she is talking to him. Jun Seok scolds him for being too noisy, but he can't just let it go. On the way home, Jun taunts her asking if she is satisfied after pitying herself. She apologizes to him, which makes him even more mad. He tells her to not just take all of it without saying anything. If she doesn't do anything, they'll keep bullying her. They kept bullying her because she was so easy. She calls herself an idiot for letting them do whatever they want. But she couldn't do anything because she was afraid they'd do worse things if she said no. She starts crying while thinking about it. She doesn't mind being left alone as long as she doesn't get bullied. Jun listens to her and grabs her hand to take her somewhere. He takes her to an arcade, a place where he goes to take out his anger when things don't go well in life. After he was done punching, he asked her to do it, but she said she had no idea how to do it. He starts crushing her skull for always blabbering without trying. She agreed to do it, but her stance was ass. Jun shows her how to do it and improves her stance. But due to him being too close to her head starts exploding. He advised her to think of it as someone's face that she wanted to smash. She felt stress relieved after punching. He then told her not to say stuff like what she said earlier. Even if she was being bullied, she should live as long as she wants. If she has something to say or if she doesn't like if someone keeps hurting her, she should say it to their face and get it off her chest. He promised to protect her even if it cost him his life. If something annoys her, she just has to tell him. He was determined to help her escape from being bullied in any way possible. Going back home, he teases her asking if she imagined his face on the punching bag. We see Yong-gi creeping on them. He remarks how he had finally found a chance to completely end him. In the class, Jae-hee was thinking about the promise he made to her. Just then someone slams on her desk. She greets him thinking it was Jun, but much to her surprise, it was Yong-gi. When she asks who he is, He tells him that he's her savior who is going to save her from Jun-seok. He reminds her how Jun-seok did terrible things to her, bullied her since first grade. The scar on her arm was also from him. She was surprised and wondered how he knew about that. He assures her that he was just here to help her. All she needed to do was to go to the teacher's office and say that Jun-seok had been hurting her to the extreme and even led others to bully her. And while she was at it, she should show them the scar too. They'll give him his full support from behind. He was already on the dean's radar anyway. If she just does that, it'll surely get him expelled. He also assured her that he'll make it so no one would dare to bully her ever again. But she told him how he had changed and that he was helping her escape from being bullied. He tries to manipulate her, saying she is naive. He was only doing that because if she just said one thing, he'd be expelled from the school. He was doing all that just so that he could at least graduate high school. She says to him that he might be right and that Jun might be taking advantage of her. But he was the first friend who promised to help her. So even if she was being led to, she wanted to trust him. Yonggi got furious and grabbed her by the collar. He threatened to make the rest of her school life a living hell. He informed her that the one who thinks has got her back has already been taken care of. We see a bunch of delinquents waiting for Jun-seok to show up. She starts crying while Yonggi forces her to do as he says. Just then, the class door opens, and Jun-seok enters the room with a menacing look on his face. He was injured and was breathing heavily. Yonggi was flabbergasted to him. Jun-seok looks at him and yells out his name in anger. Earlier, on the way to school, the delinquents had attacked him, but he took them down easily. He says how he had warned them not to mess with him again. His past self was taking over as the fight went on. The guy smirks, saying he was done for. He and that loner girl. Jun asked him what he is talking about. When he learned that Sim Jae-hee was also involved, he tried to get there, but one more group of delinquents come at him. He also charges at them with the intent to end them. He started taking them down one by one. One of them attacked him with a club, but the club broke instead. After seeing him at that like it was nothing, the others started to get scared and call him a monster. But one of them ordered them not to get scared and attack him. This time all of them attack him at once. But even then he took down all of them in just a few moments. When gets to the class, all injured, he sees Yonggi threatening her. He couldn't control his rage and attacks him immediately. Yongji's lackeys try to attack him, but he brutally took care of them with a single blow to each. While he was distracted by them, Yonggi attacked him and tackled him to the ground. He starts pounding on him while ordering him how he should have been in his lane. But Chi-hee comes in the way and tries to help Jun. Yonggi slapped her away, but this gave Jun enough time to launch an attack. Yonggi knew he should block the attack, but he didn't even see it coming. Just in one punch, he went flying and was knocked out. The others didn't believe that their boss was defeated by a second year. After he was done with him, he announced if anyone dared to even touch Ji-hee's hair, he'd kill him for sure. And all of those who annoy or bully her, he'd beat the crap out of them too. Just as he was screaming, the dean came to the class and saw what Jun had done. He got furious and immediately said that he was expelled from the school for good. At the teacher's office, the dean was scolding him for fighting when he had specifically told him not to. He yells at him that he was expelled for sure, and he warns Yonggi as well. But he was still laughing, even if he was a little embarrassed in front of his juniors. In the end, if Jun gets expelled from the school, that would be enough for him. Seeing him smiling, Jun-seok gets angry. He thinks to himself how if he gets expelled, they'd make Ji-hee's life a living hell. Since it's come to this, he thinks to himself, he should crush Yonggi as much as he can before he leaves, to the point he won't be able to lay hands on her. As he was just imagining it, Yonggi saw him making a fist and got scared. But before he could beat the crap out of him, Ji-hee stops him. She tells the dean that if Jun is gonna get expelled, she will leave too, because she was being blackmailed and he saved her from the bullies. He beat the others because she was being bullied. The dean scolds her for taking expulsion this lightly, but he also didn't know what was the right thing to do. Just then, the English teacher also comes there. She took their side and advised the dean to at least investigate before expelling him. The plan wasn't going according to Yonggi. He was confused as to why they were taking that guy's side. Just after a few moments, we see Jun-seok cleaning up the school bathroom as a punishment. He was furiously thinking about how the mighty Jun-seok had to do something like this. But he did avoid expulsion, so it wasn't all bad. He asked Jae-hee what was she still doing there. She says how he was there because of her, so she couldn't leave him alone and go home. So he asked her to come in and help him with a devilish smile on his face. But she was too scared to enter the boys' bathroom. Then in a serious tone, he asked her why she did that for him. He hears from the others that Yonggi had told her to tell the teachers how he abused her. If she had told them while they were in the teacher's office, It would have been perfect revenge on him for what he did to her. To which she replies that it's because he had promised to help her escape being bullied. June assured her that he would keep that pro. Then after a few minutes of silence, he asked her if she had brought the money. She was shocked to see where he had taken her. It was an adult entertainment district. Her mind started flooding with weird stuff. He flicks her on the head and told her to stop thinking weird craps. From the shadows, we see someone recognizing their uniform from Sampo High School and were pissed to see them in their territory. He took her to a makeup counter. They were a little surprised to see students there. Jun Seok told them to take care of her and make her harder than anyone in the class. While doing her hair, the lady keeps complimenting her. Seeing their dress, she remarks how she didn't know Sampo High School had such a kind girl. She says how she thought that school was filled with delinquents while looking at June. He told her to stop spouting nonsense and just finish the work. Just then, one of the adult workers, Nuna there, starts hitting on June, calling him Oppa. He remarks how he is younger than her and tells her not to call her that. But she says how she's been looking at him from earlier and how he doesn't act like someone his age. He acts like someone much older. She was spot on. She asks him if he is acting like that because he got someone pregnant. June was getting annoyed by her. Then she proceeds to ask him to leave her tacky girlfriend and come with her. But he said that the tacky girl she was talking about was gone. She was now a completely different girl. He asked him if she looked weird, to which he replied that they needed to work on some details. Other than that, she was good to go. While they were leaving, the lady said how they looked like a married couple, a mean husband and a kind wife. As they were coming back home, June was giving her suggestions on her dress as well. Just then, the same man bumps into him and told them not to hang around there. At first, June got angry, but when he turned around, he recognized that guy. The man was Jang Swang-soo. In his past life, where he was no different than trash, that man was the first person June ever killed. Even after coming back home, he couldn't stop thinking about him. Jang Seung-soo was an important person of the Tiger Skull, the rival gang of their Sampo gang. Some pop gang wanted to get rid of Ja Seung-soo, who was always getting in the way. June was promised advancement, so he got rid of him. Seeing his appearance meant he was already taking up a position in the gang. He also realizes that they were on Tiger Skull gang's turf today, but he hadn't met Seung-soo at this stage in his past life. He wondered if it was something that the angel put in his way. He thinks he just won't contact him, that's all, and everything would be okay. And after that, he goes to sleep. At midnight, June got up to drink water when he saw someone in the kitchen. He thinks it was his father, but he was baffled when he realized it was Swang-soo.